It's time for the Phenology Show. Phenology is the rhythmic biological nature of events as they relate to climate. And I'm not sure how to start off today's show. I've got this long list, 8 or 9 different things that are showing signs of fall. And I was going to jump right in and make you feel bad and then make you feel good by telling you all the nice things that are going on besides that. So here we go. So if you're looking for signs of fall, if you are anxious for fall to come, here are some of the plants that are demonstrating fall color right now. The sarsaparilla is turning, some in my neighborhood turn red and some turn yellow, but sarsaparilla is turning color. Bracken ferns have begun to turn color. Milkweed has some bright yellow leaves at the bottom. Dogbane is doing the same, bright yellow leaves. Cattails, if you have cattails around and if you've been looking at them throughout the summer, you'll notice now that they're starting to turn a little bit brown at the top, and that will continue. In fact, all of these will continue until senescence. I have a couple of red maples that are starting to turn colors. There's always somebody, you get that assignment and the teacher says, this is due a month from today. And there's somebody in your class that's going to have it done by the end of the week. And those are the red maples that are turning now. I'm one of those red maples that will turn exactly on the day that it's due. I'm not going to jump the gun at all, but there are maples that do. Poison ivy. There's a big patch of poison ivy by my house, and it is just beginning. You can see in this big field of green, you can see little bits of orange and coral and red that are the poison ivy leaves beginning to turn color. Poison ivy, by the way, many people they know what it is, leaves of 3, let it be. But the truth about poison ivy is that it's an edge plant, and that if you get past the edge of a trail, of a forest, of an island, once you're in about 25 or 30 feet, it's too shady, and poison ivy doesn't do well in shade. So you seldom find poison ivy deep in the woods. You'll find it on the edges, along the trails and open edges of fields and whatnot, where it can get a little bit of sun. But if there's no sun available, you're probably not going to see much poison ivy. So once you get past the edge and you're going into the woods or up an island, you're done with the poison ivy for the most part. Mountain maple. I was driving along with my wife, just kind of out looking at stuff, and I went by this shrub. Mountain maples are not trees, they're shrubs. They seldom get more than 20 or 25 feet tall, and they're bushy. And but they do have a maple-like leaf, 3 lobes. They carry their seeds into the fall, and that's what made this mountain maple so spectacular. The color of the samara on the seed, the wing on the seed, is changing, and it was green for a long time, and now it's starting to turn a bit red, and it will get more red. Some of them become quite red. Some stay at the coral stage, and some go orange. Some just go brown. But mountain maples, and this one was just thick with seeds. And the green of the leaf and the red of the seed, it reminded me of red oaks right away in the spring when the red oaks just break leaf bud. There's a mixture of red and green at the end of a red oak branch that is really spectacular. And the mountain maple is sort of imitating that shade of red and green right now. So if you have mountain maples near you, or if you suspect you do, go out and check them out. You remember, all maples have opposite branches. So if it has opposite branches and it has these lovely seeds that are starting to turn kind of corally red, chances are you're looking at a mountain maple, and you won't be disappointed for it. Sugar maple. another maple that is still green. The leaves are still green on the sugar maples, but the seeds are very much turning brown right now, so they're becoming quite obvious. And sugar maples they're dioecious to a point. Dioecious means that there are two houses. That is, there's a male tree and a female tree. Some maples have male branches and female branches. I've even seen on a silver maple at my house where there are clusters of flowers that are both, they'll have male flowers and female flowers on the same cluster. But usually maples are either a male or a female. And the females right now are heavy with seed. And that's another way you can tell sugar maples from your other maples, from your reds and your silvers and amers and all the rest of them outside of the mountain maple, which is a shrub, so you won't get confused. But the sugar maple is a tree, and it drops its seeds in the fall. The red maple and the silver maple, their seeds come off in June. Right away after they're mature, they fall. But the sugar maples carry their seeds all the way into fall. So if you have a big maple in your yard and it's right now pretty heavy with seed, it's a female sugar maple. Give it a look. Those are all signs of fall that are coming. A couple of other signs of fall that you might want to be watching for, and especially starting this week, nighthawk migrations. You should be seeing flocks of nighthawks coming through as they migrate south. This typically is something that happens around the 20th of August. So nighthawk migrations. There are those little ants that build the little volcanic-like cones, the little sandy cones that you see on the ground along the edge of your driveway, or if you're like me and you have a dirt driveway, they're right in the middle of the driveway, wherever. These little ants, they belong to the genus Lasius. Those little sugar ants, those tiny, tiny little red ants, they're going to enlarge the hole in their anthill, and a lot, I was going to say 1 million, but that's an exaggeration, a lot of male and queen ants, winged ants, are going to come out of those anthills in the next couple of weeks. These ants are sometimes called Labor Day ants because this is the time of year when their elites, their male and female designated queens and males, are going to emerge from those anthills. And I can recall one time when I was walking in the woods, I came across this stump that had like an inch thick pile of these winged ants, and I plunged my hand into it, and I might as well have been the tree because they paid absolutely no attention to my hand. They crawled over it, and then they used it as structure, but they didn't bite. They didn't do anything. It was just something to climb on for these ants, Labor Day ants. And they're going to be coming out. So watch for flying ants. The interesting thing about their life is that the females, those queens, those winged queens that come out, if they're lucky, they're going to find a male. And if the male is lucky, he will find a queen and get to breed with her. And then she will immediately break her wings off, and the muscles that she developed to enable her to fly will be converted into energy to excavate her anthill, and she will start her anthill immediately this fall, and hopefully she will be successful. The males, on the other hand, whether they breed or not, they are not going to be allowed back into the anthill that they came from, and essentially they will become bird food. So watch for those flying ants and think about them and what's going on in their lives. And finally, another sign of fall that's about to happen and should be happening very soon is that the coat of the deer is going to change from summer red to fall and winter gray. So they're going to start growing their winter hair, and they will become much less red and much more gray. And the bucks are at that point now where they're going to be starting to rub the velvet off of their antlers. So watch for small brush. If you see small brush, stuff that's as thick as your thumb, and it's kind of rubbed on, that's probably a deer trying to clear the velvet off of his antlers. If it's larger, if it's as thick as your forearm, it's probably a deer who's polished his antlers and is now practicing the art of battle, pushing against something that resists him. So all of that coming up with the deer. So that sort of takes you up to date on the signs of fall. This morning we had a note from Sarah, who said that red pine cones are plentiful this year, and that the state is buying red pine cones, paying $95 a bushel for red pine cones. So if you want to make a little spending money, you might want to go out and harvest some. There are lots of them. White spruce cones are also ripening, and both red pine and white spruce cones are being cut by squirrels and bouncing off the steel roof on my garage and my house. I'm hearing a bunch of them, both of them banging off of the roof from time to time. Another, I suppose this is a sign of fall. Hazelnuts are gone. If you were thinking about hazel this fall, it's too late. They're gone. Choke cherries are disappearing. The pin cherries are all gone. The bears are knocking down the choke cherry bushes and cleaning off the cherries, and they don't take a lot of time to do that. They see a cluster of berries, they close their mouth on it, they pull the branch out, and they swallow whatever in their mouth, and that includes whatever might be hanging on with those berries, with the choke cherries. So check those out. So on other notes, let's see. Among the flowers that bloom this time of year are two big families, asters and goldenrods. And at my house, I have the following asters in bloom. I have the purple-stemmed aster, which is a large, maybe inch and a quarter blue flower. I have the calico aster, which is a small white flower. I have the flat-topped aster, which is a white flower and a larger, maybe up to a 3/4 of an inch or an inch across. And the flat-topped aster, of course, lives up to its name. All of the flowers are at the same level in a big cluster at the top. And I have northern heart-leaved asters blooming at my house, and those are bright blue flowers as well. The purple-stemmed aster has a kind of a long, narrow leaf, maybe a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch wide and about 4 to 6 inches long. The northern heart-leaved aster has about a 6-inch leaf, but the leaf itself is quite wide, maybe 2.5 to 3 inches wide and about 4 inches long. And the petiole that holds this leaf on the heart-leafed aster has a wing on it. So it's a winged stem that holds the leaf to the aster on the northern heart-leafed. Good luck. Lots of asters. You can just get away with calling them all asters, or you can do like I do and play around for a while. It's good mental exercise to try and figure out who's who. Among the goldenrods, these are the ones that I have seen in flower: Tall, Canada, and Splendid. All three of those are those big tall ones with the big spreading plumes of flowers at the top. Then there's the flat-topped goldenrod or grass-leaved goldenrod. That has a small yellow flower, but it is, as it describes, flat. But those clusters, the flat-topped aster is a cluster that can be up to 6 inches or 8 inches across. The flat-topped goldenrod might be 3 inches across. So it's a very small and bright yellow as opposed to the white of the flat-topped aster. So you're not going to mistake the two. And the other aster I found, or the other goldenrods I found, are zigzag, which is typically found in the woods and has big, fat, wide leaves with a teeth on them, and gray goldenrod, which is a bit more like the Canada or the tall goldenrod. It's not very tall. It's about 12 to 15 inches high. And this is the one with the flower cluster that looks a lot like a kind of an oversized finger. It sort of hangs in that way. And there's a beautiful flower out there. If you're in the right spot, there's a beautiful flower out there called groundnut. And groundnut has a flower that looks, I don't know, it's purple, it's pale lavender, it's a pea-like flower, so it's got this big lip on the top and a lip on the bottom and this keel in the middle that is really quite spectacular. And they grow in clusters. The flowers are going to be 10 to 15 flowers in about a 2-inch space. Groundnut, and it is really worth the time and trouble to get out and find it. Very quickly, the birds I've been dealing with, trumpeter swans are calling from the lake. The sandhill cranes are both on the lake, and then they're up in the fields, and they're turning up the grass in the fields, turning up the turf in the fields, and getting at those little June bug grubs, the big fat white grubs. They're eating a bunch of those. Flickers, I see a few flickers. The kestrels are still hanging out along Blue Heron Drive. Crows and ravens are still eating among the grasshoppers from the newly mowed hayfields. Robins. I haven't seen many robins, and this is the time of year. You remember a month ago, there were robins everywhere. They were out in your yards and every place. And they're gone now, and the reason for that is they've gathered into flocks. And when they show up, you're going to have robins around your place, but they're going to be there for a half a day or a day, and then they're going to move on. So if you're not seeing robins, it's because they've gathered into flocks and are busy feeding and moving from this pin cherry to that choke cherry to that juneberry, whatever plant they can find that's got some green fruit or some ripe fruit on it. They're going to be out there hitting those. And at my bird feeder, boy, it's a lot of juveniles. I've got juvenile pileated woodpeckers, juvenile red-bellied woodpeckers, juvenile pileated or downy, hairy. All the woodpecker juniors are there. The golden grosbeaks, the rose-breasted grosbeak juvenile males and females are at the feeder. Purple finches are at the feeder. Goldfinches are coming to the feeder. The nuthatches, red and white-breasted, young and old. Just a lot of birds at the feeder right now, and most of them are a mixture of adults and juveniles. That's the Phenology Show for this week. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you again next week.